this Derek Diamond experience.
How's everyone doing today? How's everyone's Pensacon going? Good. Well, my name is Derek Diamond. I'm the host of the Derek Diamond Experience podcast, which this is being recorded for. And this is the fourth installment of Defending Bad Movies. Joining me on this wonderful panel today is my co-host on the Nerd Cave Retro podcast, Mr. Jason Robbins.
Hello.
And the official fact checker of the Nerd Cave Retro podcast, Mr. Wally Phelps.
Hello.
So, who here has never seen the Defending Bad Movies panel before? Wow, a lot of newcomers. Okay, so this is how it works. I've got a list of 30 of the least popular and some that are very divided, depending on which more you trust, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, sites like that. Some of these movies I like, some I don't, but I don't have to defend them, so my opinion really doesn't matter. So I'm going to choose these at random, and they have to say nothing but good things about said movie.
Is there a punishment if I don't?
You have to spend the rest of the day with me. All right. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Sure.
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. First up is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that's a nice thing to say about it.
I like the movie.
I like the movie. It was better than the Joss Whedon version for absolute certain, and it was. I mean, I really love the beginning of the Wonder Woman section because of how nuts it was. Because, you know, she's blowing up stuff, she's killing folks left and right, and I'm sitting there going, and then at the end the little girl's like, can I be like you when I grow up? And I'm like, a murderer? You know, so yeah, I mean, I love this movie. It's great, it makes no sense.
It's one of the best movies by a director who's only ever read The Dark Knight Returns.
I would say that's accurate.
Because I never saw the theatrical version because I don't really care for Zack Snyder that much. But then they had the Zack Snyder cut, and I was like, you know, I'll give this thing a chance. And about an hour and a half in, that was the best nap I ever had.
It's only a tenth of the movie. What are you doing?
I don't even know if there's any more Martha stuff in it.
Oh, Martha.
Why'd you say that name?
Why'd you say that name? Okay, so this movie was, I personally liked it, but I feel like for every person that likes it, there's someone who dislikes it. Halloween Ends.
Oh, you don't make me go first?
I thought about 20 minutes of that movie was great.
Okay.
The rest of it is a completely different movie. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm not saying it was negative. It just, there was a whole chunk of that movie that brought in a new character that was a complete separate movie from what the storyline we've been watching. And I'm like, the hell is this? But the parts with actual Michael Myers with the story we had seen thus far was really good.
The thing I liked about it was the fact that it gave me all of this headcanon that I could come up with because Michael Myers was living in the sewer for a year.
Well, me and him started a Twitter account
of Michael Myers just spending time in the sewer waiting for things to happen.
and it's his day-by-day diary of what he goes through in the sewer.
Just finding an old iPhone in the sewer and then, you know, going from there basically. Like, who keeps paying for this bill? You know, things like that. So the fact that we are to believe this man in a disgusting mask, because it has to be, he's in the sewer and he's wearing this mask the entire time he's in the sewer.
So bad.
How does How does he sneak up on people anymore? We answer these questions on that Twitter account. But I just love that idea that he was able to somehow functionally live in a sewer pipe. It was great.
I think the best thing that came out of it was the Twitter account. Had that movie not existed, I wouldn't have gotten some entertaining content.
Well, there was only 13 followers, so about 6 months into it, I'm like, I'm done.
But I was one of them.
Yeah,
so there we go.
It was the same people
the
who were
fight-
reading the ones I wrote on my account, so it was like,
We were cracking up when we came up with like, this is gonna blow up, and then after about a month, we were just like, yeah, screw it.
There ain't nobody doing this.
But you tried though.
But
Yeah.
the fight between him and Laurie Strode, where she pins him to the table and like and saws his head off, like yes, and then they throw him in the what is that thing, the metal eater thing,
Some kind of compactor.
yeah, compactor. Like yes, that's what you need to like. That needs to be done to Jason. Like anytime you need to get rid of these, mystical characters who can't be killed, shove him in one of those. He ain't coming back.
How long do you think before we get a reboot?
Oh, 3-4 years probably.
Yeah, if that, it's not even. They made money, so I don't see why Blumhouse would not. They might make a video game because Blumhouse just announced that they have a video game company that they're starting. So it's a possibility that they could just keep going that way too. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I would play Halloween.
Yeah, I'd play a Halloween video game.
Absolutely.
I would.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
I didn't find anything wrong with that movie. I actually had a really good time with that.
I'm not going to go into the things I don't like because that's not what this is.
Look, we got to see Chris Hemsworth's ass, all right? What more do you need?
All right, fine. How come every argument I lose it ends with Chris Hemsworth's act?
Because that's Australia's ass.
He is an Asgardian.
Good night, everybody.
It's not going to get any better.
So we
In the middle.
got 2 T-shirts that need to be made.
Jason's face Asgardian.
I honestly don't know why people don't like that movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not saying that it's not a great movie.
It's better than Dark World. That movie is just straight
Watch
boring.
the next movie be dark. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't go back and watch it again.
I would.
But unless I had to. But if somebody wanted to, that's the thing. If somebody wanted to, I will. It's not like I'm going to turn it off if somebody has it on. It was fine. It was all right.
I personally enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very entertaining.
That
I
should
don't
go on- that
hate
should
it
go
like
on
a lot of
the
people.
poster. Thor: Love and Thunder. It's fine. Well,
It's fair.
Sorry.
5 out of
It's
10.
the okayest of Thor movies to
and
watch.
then the other side of the poster says, "That's Australia's ass, Jason."
And where it would have the newspaper, the Asgardian Press.
We go home and make posters.
Let's see. Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Wow. Okay.
Well, and I'll tell you what, because after there's something that happens to my brain whenever I see a movie that just kind of breaks the franchise to me, I just stop watching the movies. And Jurassic World was that, in that it wasn't bad, but it's like, I don't have any need to see this go any further, So it just kind of stopped me there. So
What
there's
was-
nothing wrong with it.
What was the one after Jurassic World? Was it?
Was Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom.
And Dominion was the last one.
Okay,
People
I
had
saw Fallen Kingdom, and I remember I watched half of it, and then I didn't watch it again for like a year or two, and then I watched the whole thing like a year ago. Here we are a year later. I don't remember anything about that movie.
I can't even tell you if I saw it.
Jeff Goldblum is
Oh, I
in
didn't
it,
see
so
it.
that will be my thing.
The biggest positive of that movie was seeing the original trio back together. All their scenes were fantastic. And who doesn't like Jeff Goldblum?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the ex, Mrs. Goldblum.
Yeah. Besides her.
Which ex? It's been married 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
Well, take your poison. Wonder Woman 1984.
Whew, Pedro Pascal is wonderful. he's fantastic. I love him to death, and I really wish that they gave him something more in that movie. But it was, I really loved his performance, and I loved his just everything about his character. I liked. I mean, that's negative. I'm not going to say. But yeah, there's him in general. It was fantastic, and I really enjoyed that.
I will not bring up the fact that Wonder Woman sexually assaulted an innocent man. That movie.
Who transformed into Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Didn't even look like Chris Pine. Whatever.
What I liked the most about that movie was it was something completely different than what we had seen from Pedro Pascal. Like we had seen The Mandalorian where he plays this very serious type of character, and he's like that in The Last of Us. But seeing him be more outgoing was really cool.
More broad.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked about it, is that we did get to see him just chew that scenery up and look like he was having a blast doing it. And I really did like what he brought to the movie.
Solo, a Star Wars movie.
I've seen that movie like 3 or 4 times now, and I have never found anything wrong with it. I actually like it. I mean, it is kind of weird, you know, because he like gets all of his like. They kind of treated it like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where everything you know about the character he acquired in like a 5-minute period at the beginning of the movie. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with that movie.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, you know,
Another time.
Ringing
It's
endorsement.
fine.
yeah, it's another thing. I mean, it was a pretty good movie. I mean, it does have faults. It's not perfect, but it's a perfectly fun Star Wars movie. I mean, the big thing that I really enjoyed was the chemistry, not the chemistry, but the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the way that the characters, I guess it would be the chemistry, the way they played off of each other, and everybody seemed to be very well cast.
Donald Glover made a great Lando
He
Calrissian.
absolutely did.
And the guy, I can never remember, this is such a weird name. The guy that
Ansel
played
Elgort, I
Ansel
believe.
something, whatever his name is pretty good at not doing an impression of Harrison Ford, but doing it close enough to where it kind of made it his own.
He did it so well that you almost forgot Harrison Ford's name. Or it could be because
It belongs in a museum.
So do you.
I also thought Woody Harrelson did a great job of playing Woody Harrelson in the Star Wars movies.
Yes, he does that.
He gets away with it every movie he does, but no one complains about it. I mean, I like it.
Hey, when you're good at something.
That's right. Just be.
Yeah, just
be.
Just be. Halloween Kills.
I mean, I didn't. I'm a Halloween fanboy. And I'm going to say something in front of the crowd here that you all may run me out on a pitchfork, but Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is my favorite Halloween movie. I don't care what anybody says, and I love the original Halloween. I still like the original Halloween 2, even though I think Halloween 18 really works better as the true sequel to Part 1. And Halloween Kills is just sort of a good middle story. There's not really an end point, and it's a good middle story, but it's not anything that you're gonna want to watch by itself. You want to watch it with the other movies.
It's fine.
It's fine. Honestly, it's not fine. But a lot of it works. A lot of it works. It's really good as far as the slasher component is in it, but trying not to be negative.
It's much more gory than any of the
I
other.
think
We
that's why
could
it's so
cut
divided.
out a lot of that movie and put it on top of Halloween Ends, and it would improve the entire
That's actually
trilogy.
what I think you could do is you could take all the Michael Myers stuff from Halloween Ends, just cut it out, and paste it onto Halloween Kills, and then you have a perfect trilogy of movies right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's good, but it's fine.
I think it just felt so different because I feel like, especially with the original Halloween, it was much more cerebral, whereas like you don't know when Michael's going to show up.
Yeah.
But then when Halloween Kills, it's like when he comes out of Laurie's house, he's like, you know what? Just going to kill everybody. He's
Right.
like, you're
Well-
dead. You're dead.
The thing that gets me, the part that I don't really enjoy is the whole, and this is me being negative, I apologize, but it just feels like there was a lot of that movie that just kind of did what I'm doing now and is extending it to a point where it's like, what is going on here? It's like, why is this section taking so long? I got it. But if they would have just edited it all down to a point where it would have been, you know, a more contained movie,
Well, I
it
feel
didn't
like-
need to be as long as it did.
I feel like what made the original Halloween and Halloween 18 work so well is because with Michael Myers, he didn't just, it seemed like he was randomly killing, but he was only killing people that were like in his way. You know, he wasn't just killing everybody in sight, but by the time you get to kills and ends, he's just killing, you know, anybody that he can find, basically.
Which is great.
Yeah.
The Wolverine.
The what now?
The Wolverine.
Is this
that
okay?
The one where he goes to Japan.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, then
I enjoyed it when I saw it, but I don't remember anything.
that's the thing. Okay, it is inoffensive.
It's not Wolverine X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Right.
which makes it automatically a good movie.
Yeah.
It has the bones of a good story, and that's great.
Adamantium.
You are right.
Yes,
They
exactly.
had covered bones.
And that was something that I wanted them to explore, was Wolverine in Japan, so I was glad that they did that.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to see
Yeah.
as well, because that was one of my favorite little tangents that they did with Logan, is seeing his history over there. Although there were characters I would love to have seen that we didn't, and situations that I would love to have seen that we didn't, but we saw enough where I was like, all right, it's
And-
fine.
That's going to be the title of this episode. Defending that movie's for it. It's fine. Also, shirtless Hugh Jackman.
Well, yes. I mean, one does not simply walk into a Wolverine movie without expecting it was Hugh Jackman.
Exactly.
That's Australia's chest.
Yes.
And
Steve Irwin is Australia's heart. We're building the perfect.
We're building Australia here at Pensacon 2023.
Australia's Frankenstein.
What would Yahoo Serious be?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh, I like that.
Speaking of Japan.
See,
I saw it in the theater in 1992 or 3 when that came out.
Right.
Whenever it came out. I haven't seen it since, so I don't remember it that well.
Wow, I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved how different it was from the other movies, and it was a typical '90s kids movie, really. And I didn't see anything really wrong with it. I was its target audience at the time, and I've gone back and I've seen it since, and I don't see anything wrong with it other than the fact that maybe the characters are a little less.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. We ran out of money, so the mouths don't move.
Basically, that's essential. We're trying to voice match for all of the countries this one. But yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought, and I love the fact that Casey Jones got extended airtime, and yeah, I really liked it.
Well, if you go back and look at that trilogy, it followed really kind of the evolution of the Turtles. Because you have the first one, where you could say it's more like the comic books because it had that dark feel. Part 2, they incorporated more of the humor. And then 3, I felt like was essentially a live action version of the show.
Right.
But it's not a bad thing because I love the cartoon. It's one of my favorites.
Right.
So I think it's an unfair rap, personally.
I mean, and it kind of turns because how many times have I seen a movie where they have a wonderful, fanciful location and then they immediately leave it? Like the Smurfs movie, for example. We see where they live and then they immediately go to New York City. It's like, no. I want to see a Smurfs movie where the Smurfs live. So whenever the Turtles go to this, Japan of history, and you see all of these wonderful historical. I mean, I'm not saying it's a historical documentary by any stretch of the imagination, but the fact that there's all of this imaginative story work and setting going on, I think is a wonderful thing that we don't get enough of in those types of movies, because it's always the other way around. There is that in the movie because the Romans or whatever they were actually come into modern day New York, but that's a side story. That's not the main thing. So I loved that movie. I'm going to go watch it when I leave.
Funny enough, for those of you who are comic book readers, there's a Ninja Turtles comic book series called The Last Ronin that is extremely good. Very dark, but very good. Karate Kid Part 3.
You always look at me. Karate Kid 3. I mean, probably that performance. I can't remember the guy's name because I haven't been watching.
Cobra Kai.
But the guy, there's a part where they have this scheme that they have. He's in a hot tub and he's on the phone with Sensei Kreese, I believe it was, and he's like, "What if we make him love us or whatever?" And he's like. And he does the wildest take of any. He just jumps up in a towel in the hot tub. You know what? I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm like, how much cocaine happened on this set? It was. That is one of my favorite moments of any movie ever, and I will always remember it because I was 8 years old when I saw that, and it was great.
We'll say what's the villain's name again?
Terry Silver.
Terry Silver, okay.
I think he makes a great villain in the show, that movie. Like, I remember seeing it when I was a kid. It was a rental. I remember renting it as a kid and just being, such a fan of Karate Kid 1 and 2 as a kid. This one just felt, I don't know, so left field from what Karate Kid was. I remember not liking it, and I'll be honest, I have not seen that movie since then. Probably when did it come out?
Like 88, 89.
89, somewhere around there. But I enjoy that character in the show because it fits that universe that they built in the show itself.
What I love about the show is it makes Karate Kid 3 better.
Yeah.
Because they explain why Terry was the way he was and kind of just how ridiculous a lot of it was at the time.
And he's such a ridiculous, over-the-top villain. It's great in the TV show, but it's something that you can build to over 4 or 5 seasons. But when it's like Karate Kid 1, the classic, then you go to 2, he goes to Japan, and then 3, you introduce Terry Silver, and it's it becomes a Van Damme movie at that point. And it's like, what is happening? Like, this is not. I don't like that.
That's negative.
Yeah.
I don't have the buzzer, unfortunately.
You don't have to spend the day with Terry.
But like you said, I do think the TV show, I haven't seen it since then, it probably does make the movie better.
It does. It explains a lot. Doom.
Oh.
It's got The Rock.
Carl Urban. I mean, he's good in everything, and I really do like the.
I did like the first person.
Yeah,
that was really
the
cool.
first person section. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, and they had the BFG in it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I just feel like that game would make a better anime or, you know, like a CGI type of movie than a live action.
Pixar?
Yeah. Like that sort of like stylized animation, you know, that kind of animation that could be dark and brutal and gritty, but I don't know, just as a movie, it just felt weird. Because I love that game, I love the Doom games, but that movie was like, it's just weird.
When it goes into the first person sequence, I'm like, okay, this is cool. That is a cool nod to fans of the game.
It
Yeah,
should
I
have
wish it
felt
was
more
3D.
like Event Horizon than like a straight up like The Rock action movie. You know?
I don't agree with that.
Really?
Like it's Doom, because Event Horizon is all
But-
this psychological manipulative horror
But like
that's
the
going on for like
feel
2/3
of that
the
movie, like it just Doom felt like just too slick. Like it didn't have
Have
any
you
like.
played Doom?
Yes. Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I have. And it's more like the game than Event Horizon
Why?
is.
Well, I'm not saying Event Horizon is like Doom. I'm just saying it could if they would have made the movie feel like that, a little more like
Right.
you know, like Aliens or something.
I mean, I get Aliens. Okay, Aliens I understand. But Event Horizon? It's like, you know what? I really think that I like The Last of Us. The TV show is great, but I think it would be better if it was like Casablanca. It's like it might. It's about helpless people, yes, but nothing else matches.
Frankly, I don't give a damn.
Someone made a joke on Twitter like 2 weeks after The Last of Us, the show came out. Somebody should make a video game based off this. Like,
Are you being? Somebody actually did put up a picture that was in a video game store, and it had The Last of Us, and it had a sign on the front that said, "Based off the hit TV show."
Yeah.
What?
I don't know about that. Speaking of The Rock, Black Adam.
Best DC movie I refuse to see.
That's a positive.
Has Hawkman in it.
Also,
It's fine.
yeah,
I actually stopped watching it about 2/3 of the way. Actually, even before that, because it started giving me the vibe that is this little kid gonna be important? Oh, he's gonna be important. All right, I'm turning this off.
Look, I love The Rock, but I'm tired of The Rock.
how to smell when he's cooking.
Yeah. Like I've ate, I'm good.
Another good shirt idea.
Hey, I'm good.
Also loved Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Pierce Brosnan.
I thought he was excellent.
I didn't even know he was in the movie.
He's excellent in it.
He's really good. Honestly, the entire Justice Society
Society,
is great. I like. If it was a Justice Society movie, it would have been much better for me because the most uninteresting part of the movie is the title character, and it just. And the fact that they keep on doing that thing where they have this random family, even though I know the characters from the comic book, it's not like the movie, to the point where here's this mom and her son and her brother, and for whatever reason, this god amongst men no, I'm done. I'm turning this off.
I think it's
'Cause
kind
I
of
didn't
a
get any further than
lifelong
that.
thing for me because even I'm 45 years old, and even as a kid, like Shazam felt so like old fashioned and like just old comic book stuff. And here we are, I'm a 45-year-old man. I don't give a crap about anything to do with Shazam at all.
Well, Shazam was a good movie.
It was a good movie,
but
I couldn't tell you anything of it. Like I saw it, but I don't remember anything from it.
there was flossing involved. But yeah, I really enjoyed everything up to the point where I realized where they were going with the movie. So I will say about a third of the movie is at least watchable.
The rest is fine.
The rest
It's
is
fine.
I haven't watched it, so
You need a cue card.
It's fine. Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
You got the room.
Look, I saw the first Venom movie and I made it through that, and I was like, I'm not gonna sit through another one. So I have not seen it and have no plans to whatsoever.
As part of the.
Even though I love Woody Harrelson and I love Tom Hardy.
And Woody Harrelson does a great job of playing Woody Harrelson as fantastic.
I love that storyline, like the whole Maximum Carnage. Like, I have all those comics still. Love that storyline. But as soon as they announced this movie, and I was like, I hated the first Venom movie, and I just do not want to see this.
So to advertise the film, Fortnite had a Carnage and a Venom skin included in the game, and that's the best part of the movie.
I'm sure the Carnage skin in Fortnite would be really cool.
Oh, it is pretty cool because his pickaxe is his arm turns into an axe and starts doing that number. And the Venom one has Tom Hardy version where you can run around with Tom Hardy. And then
Might I suggest instead of watching, what was the movie
Let There
called?
Be Carnage.
he doesn't even know the name of the movie.
Go get a Super Nintendo and play Maximum Carnage on the Super Nintendo.
That's a
That's
good
a much better
suggestion.
experience than I can guarantee you that movie is.
Have we reviewed that on Nerd Game Rush?
I don't think we have.
Maximum Carnage for Genesis.
We'll have to
I
change
think
that.
we might have.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll have to look and see. If not, we'll have to change that.
I fact
I mean,
checked.
they ripped off Black Sabbath for the
Yeah.
for the music
Yeah.
in the game, and nobody ever figured it out.
Jungle Cruise.
Oh,
I actually like Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that movie.
I mean,
it's The Rock, and I've had plenty of Rock. Some
the fact that
It's
he did
fine.
an entire Jungle Cruise at the beginning of it, using jokes from the Jungle Cruise, made me happy.
Yeah.
It was like, it's one of those things where he said the thing. I love that.
When this movie was announced, I said if they do not incorporate the bad jokes at some point,
Right.
I will refuse to watch it.
I mean, it's a really good adventure movie, and I think that's something we don't have enough of these days. Is just straight up adventure movies.
The worst part of the movie is the fact that it's not a Mummy sequel. That's really it. It had that feel. It didn't nail it entirely, but it went there and it got close enough for me to have that itch scratched. So I really liked it.
And I feel like those are the kind of roles that The Rock should do more of,
Yeah.
and not essentially playing The Rock.
Yeah.
Episode 87, Maximum Carnage for the Super Nintendo.
Okay, there we go. Well, darn. But no, I like Jungle Cruise. It was a fun movie.
It was a good movie.
Not every movie has to be this huge epic. Like you can
No.
just shut your brain off.
That's all. Sometimes that's all you want. It's just a nice adventure movie, like Indiana Jones style adventure.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Indiana Jones. Just give me an adventure.
It just has to be the Mummy.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Where is Brendan
It doesn't have
Fraser?
to be The Rock either. There are other actors.
There are other actors.
Get Australia's ass.
Well, it's like there are only two actors. If you need live action, you have The Rock. If you have voice, you need Chris Pratt.
Yeah. No.
Agreed.
I'm so scared for that. I really that.
You notice they haven't had any
Oh, I know.
Mario voice stuff
I know.
in any of the advertisements, so I have a feeling they're going back and re-recording all of his dialogue.
The problem is the movie looks great.
It does.
Everything
Guarantee
except
you
for
that's why
that
we haven't
looks
heard
great.
anything about it. They're re-recording every bit of that dialogue right now.
I'm gonna go into that movie exactly how I felt with the first Sonic. I'm gonna be extremely nervous. Like, just be good. Because if we get a good Super Mario movie, we might get a Zelda movie, we might get a Metroid movie.
Oh my god, I would die if they do a Zelda movie. Can we have a Zelda TV show instead? Just extended for.
I'd be okay with that.
If they have a Zelda TV show, writers, right
Yep,
here.
exactly.
Well, I don't know anything about
I will. we'll educate you.
Just make it up, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Take Wally's spot.
Eternals.
I haven't watched it, so
Really?
I have. Look, I love comic books. I love all the MCU stuff. But once Eternals came around, it's like I really don't care to see this movie at all. There was
I don't know
nothing.
why
There was
I had
nothing
that
in the
feeling.
advertisements that made me want to see that movie.
It's like, here is a bunch of people I don't know.
Yeah, here's a movie that's almost 4 hours long. I don't care. That makes me not want to see it even more because I did not sit through 4 hours of the Snyder Cut. I'm not going to sit through this.
Fair enough.
You're right, I should have watched that instead
I'm
of
an old
Snyder
man.
Cut.
I can't sit in the theater for over 2 hours now. What are you trying to do to me?
You insist on being in the middle though. If you're on the edge like me, you can.
You know what they need to do in movie theaters? They need to have a bathroom within each theater with the movie playing on a TV screen.
Like
So if you
a
go pee,
kindergarten?
you can just watch what's going on so you don't miss anything. Tell me that's not a bad idea.
It's a great idea.
You should trademark it.
Bathroom.
It's like it's.
But we have it on audio and video. So
Or they could just make the seats in the theater a toilet. One of those two.
well, maybe we won't go that far.
Jason, you could call it a P&C.
I like it.
That's awesome. Double Dragon.
That was one of the best commentaries we ever did for Nerd Cave Retro podcast.
Yeah. Also, Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise,
And 90s hypercolor, whatever
That was
cross
nice.
color stuff she was wearing.
And
That movie,
the idea that Andy Dick would be a weatherman is also pretty funny.
that was the most well lit movie I've ever seen in my life. There was no darkness in that movie ever.
Even when it's dark.
Yeah, even the sewers, it's like I can see everything in here.
What? Who pays the sewer's light bill?
My only disappointment with that movie is that those two didn't have to fight each other at the end of the movie.
I know, right?
Over Alyssa Milano, because as we all know, women do not have a choice in who their boyfriend is.
According to Double Dragon. You know, we did an episode of a podcast I did where we talk about the story of Double Dragon in the video game and how it just starts off with this guy coming out and boom, right in the gut of this woman. And we're like, how
And the
did you
two
get
brothers
that?
go after her because she's both their girlfriends.
I mean, and then at the end you have
My
to
brother
fight
had never
for
shared
her.
a girl before, and I'm not gonna fight him over one.
I wouldn't want to date anybody my brother wants to date. So the game is very inconsistent with its messages. But the movie didn't have any of that. That's good.
Like you guys said, I had a lot of fun watching this with you guys and doing the commentary track.
Right.
I mean, the movie looks like an episode of Party of Five. So
That's an accurate statement.
I didn't think.
Let's see. Morbius.
it's Morbid time.
The memes,
Look,
Yes.
chef's kiss.
I wish Jared Leto would just go away.
I don't understand
I
how
don't
he.
mean to get political, but Jared Leto and Mr. Orange Man himself, who was our ex-president, if those two people could just go away, I would be a happy person.
You know, the thing that gets me about Jared Leto is that companies still have the audacity to be happy to announce new movies.
I would say his agent needs to be in a Hall of Fame.
100%.
Y'all see the shirt I'm wearing? Tron is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the Tron TV series that Disney did. I'm so happy when they announced a new movie, but then they attached Jared Leto's name to it. I'm like, how many movie franchises does this dude need to tank before they stop giving him money?
It's like, I mean, it is one of those things where I read the first half of the headline. New Tron movie, yes, with Jared Leto. What?
Oh.
It's like The Haunted Mansion, yeah, Jared Leto. Why? You don't need him. That's the scariest thing about it. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever that because Morbius is one of those movies where I didn't actually see it, but I know everything about it.
Same.
Because
I
the
never saw
people
any
who
of it.
have seen it have pieced it together so meticulously to the point where I can tell you the plot of this film. I don't want to know. And it's because of how ridiculous it is, and that is a positive, because it's hilarious how bad this movie ended up being.
And it was the greatest joke that the internet ever played. That it failed in the theater, and everybody's like, "Please, we need this movie." So the movie theater spent millions of dollars putting this movie back in the theater for everybody to go, "We were just kidding."
They made what? A few $1,000?
Yeah,
Let's do it one more time. This time we were busy that
Yeah, we
weekend.
were busy the last 6 weeks it was in the theater.
Yeah, it's the memes for me. Like they're amazing. Well, I think we've got time for one more.
Like I said, Jared Leto can just go away, and
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
I've been saving this one for last, and we have never talked about this movie in any of the panels we've done. The Last Jedi.
Why did you do this?
Feel the room split.
I've lost friends.
You want to know what's wrong with those? Okay, first off, when they went into this trilogy of movies, they had no game plan whatsoever. They were just like, let's just remake Star Wars and everybody will be happy, and that's what they did. And we were happy. But then all the fan base was like, we want something different. So they gave it to Rian Johnson, and he gave us something different. Everybody's like, we don't want anything different. We want the same stuff. So, and then Princess Leia, God rest her soul, died. And she was supposed to be a huge part of the third one. And I think when it came around, like JJ was like, I don't know what to do. So they just kind of winged it. And they did not stick the landing. I mean, there was some good stuff in the movie that was really cool, but overall it felt like a disjointed mess of a movie.
Now, are you talking about are we talking about Last
Jedi.
Last Jedi, okay. All right.
Oh, I keep thinking we were talking about Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, Last Jedi, I actually liked The Last Jedi, because I thought Rian Johnson really did us a favor by giving us something different so that we could go in different directions with it, but then everybody jumped on him and hated him. And I don't understand why. I don't understand the Star Wars fandom, because like I said, the first one, Force Awakens, everybody's like, that was great, we want something different. He does something different, like, no, we don't want that. I don't know what they want. I don't know what we want.
I know what we want. Pedro Pascal. But I'm also in camp Last Jedi.
See, we can't even keep them straight.
Last Skywalker and The Rise of Jedi.
The Last Empire Skywalks back. I'm on the camp that loves that movie, because whenever I watched it with my daughter, who loved it so much, and I was having an experience with my child over a Star Wars, and we watched it, and a lot of the things I wanted to happen happened, because everybody's like, ooh, who was Rey's parents? And I'm sitting over here going, I hope it's nobody. And the reason why I hope it's nobody is because it makes the universe seem awfully small if everybody is boning each other to make these special people. And at that point, when I saw it, and I'm like, oh, she is dope. Oh, thank God. And then I come out of the movie theater and I check Twitter and I'm like, oh, nobody liked it. And I lost friends over this movie because I had the audacity to say, no, it was great. It's like hell it was. It's one of those situations.
But Jason hit the nail on the head. The biggest problem with the new Star Wars movies is you can tell they didn't have a clear plan.
Right.
Like, you can knock the prequels, but they tell a clear story from episode 1 to episode 3.
Yeah, and it did get worse as it went because of the way the last one ended up being, because
Yeah.
there is good stuff in all Star Wars. Like, even the Star Wars I don't really care for. And when it comes to the Rise of Skywalker, there's a lot I don't like in that movie, but there are really good things in it. But you can tell that they just made it up as they went. And that's what all writing is. I just wanted to throw it out there. People are always
You always
saying
kind of have it.
Yeah.
an idea of what.
It's like they're making it up as they go. That is what writing is.
But they didn't have any kind of
believe
outline.
it.
They didn't have any kind of outline of what they
Yeah, they
wanted
didn't
to
know
do.
what was going to happen. And
And like, you look at J.J. Abrams' career. I mean, even like Lost and stuff. He can start great stories, make great mysteries to hook you in, but he does not know how to pay anything off at all.
He cannot stick the landing.
He cannot.
And he's a great fixer. Like if you need something fixed, he'll come in and fix it for you, but he can't finish it.
No. I mean, his poor wife. All right.
On that note, Jason, tell everybody about our Nerd Cave Retro show.
Go check out at Nerd Cave Retro on Twitter and Instagram. NerdCaveRetro.com takes you to our link tree. We just did our panel earlier today, Pensacon 2023, and every single week we talk about the retro gaming news of the week, talk about video game history, and we review an old game every single week.
Wally, tell everyone about the Dead Game podcast.
Yes, I have a new podcast called Dead Game Podcast. It's about games that people would say are dead games, like Fortnite, D&D a couple weeks ago. But the next episode is going to be about Disney Infinity. And what we do is we talk about the things that we would do to bring back these franchises that are either languishing or people are getting tired of. So that is what we do.
Fantastic. Well, if you want to check out other episodes of my podcast, The Derek Diamond Experience, you can head to linktree.com/DDiamondPodcast. It's where it'll take you to social media, YouTube, podcast subscriptions, everything. So this has been Defending Bad Movies, so thank you all for coming out and enjoy the rest of Pensacon.